Well, not much of a dent in the drought despite the rain. You're going to have to walk me through this one, Jess.
I know. It sounds a little counterintuitive because you might think, we just had, 1, 2, 3 inches of rain. How are we still in an extreme drought? The rivers are flowing again, the soil is wet, and really you have to look below the surface to figure out what's going on here. So the drought monitor takes a bunch of things into account. Rain is just one of them. So to recap, this is what we're looking at this week. Doesn't look a lot different from last week. Still a large red area. That's the extreme drought. I'll zoom in on where the changes have been, though. We've seen them back off on the extreme drought in the Champlain Valley. Only a moderate drought now here along the shoreline on the lake, which is where we were in severe drought last week. And these areas here were in severe drought last week. Now they've backed off to, or extreme drought, now they've backed off to severe drought. Some improvements in Lamoille County, a small sliver of northern Addison County, but still more than half of Vermont is in extreme drought, more than half of New Hampshire, and we really haven't seen any changes with the other portions of the drought monitor. So to look into what's going on with that and give a little bit of an explainer, I'm going to bring Gunnar in now because, again, it's not just about rainfall here. There are some other factors that are sort of driving why we still have drought out there.
Yeah, I mean, like we've said, we've hammered this point home over the past couple months, is drought is not just rainfall deficits. It is a culmination of factors that are a result of the rainfall deficits. So the drought persists, but how? We're going to be talking about those long-term trends, current drought vitals, and the one thing I think that's holding us back from seeing major drought relief. And like Jess said, you're going to have to look deep underground for that answer. So here's the long-term drought trends. We saw a very wet May, which set us up for some pretty luscious foliage. But then, boom, month after month after month, we saw pretty big deficits in terms of that rainfall. And it's not only until recently that we've finally run a surplus. So what I want you to get from this graphic is we didn't get into the drought from one dry month, and we're not going to get out after one wet month. We're going to need a nice sustained period of wetness to get out of the drought. Now, here are some of the drought vital signs. That long-term deficit is looking better. The stream flow rates are looking much better. The topsoil is even soaked and saturated. But that deep soil moisture is still extremely dry, and that is the one thing holding us back. All of that rain recently has really given the ground a good soaking, and as a result, the bottom 4 inches of the soil have gotten really, really wet. But if you were to dig a little deeper, once you get past the top 4 inches of soil, once you get down to about 5 feet below, the soil is still very, very dry. And for folks who have wells that have run dry, for perspective, the bottom 5 feet of the soil is dry, and the average well depth in Vermont is about 293 feet. So it's going to take a while for all of that moisture to percolate down. If you've had a well that run dry and it's starting to come back, let us know so we can pretty much better gauge the status of the drought.
Our Gunnar, thank you very much, Jess.